Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills to help you level up your confidence, charisma, and brand presence. In today's talk, I'm going to be giving you 5 different hacks on how to build rapport faster. Plus, if you stick around long enough, I'm also going to give you one bonus tip. Now, I want to give you some bad news first. The bad news is that in today's world, it's much more difficult to build rapport than past generations. And I blame the internet. With the internet, there's multiple people who have access to you that in previous generations, they wouldn't have had access to you. And with this access comes great responsibility. And with this great responsibility comes 2 parties. There's the good apples, and then there's the bad apples. Now, due to the negativity bias of the brain, us humans, we tend to focus on the bad apples before the good apples. We tend to run away from pain rather than seek pleasure. Now, what this means is that our subconscious instincts kick in. We feel like we may always be in danger, so we move with a little bit more caution when dealing with new individuals, which creates this invisible bridge right in front of us. Rather than calling it a bridge, you could say a wall. And this wall is what you have to penetrate through if you want to build rapport in the first place. Therefore, in today's generation, that invisible wall is thicker, stronger than walls of the previous generations. So I want you to understand that this video, it's not for the bad apples out there. This video is not going to allow you to use dark charisma in order to win someone over. Instead, this video is for the good apples, the people that necessarily don't care how thick the wall is of distrust, because they understand that their character, their moral principles, ethics are eventually going to be able to penetrate through that wall. So that's what this video is about. You're going to be able to learn 5 different communication hacks that allow you to speed through this wall. Now, for those of you who don't necessarily understand what rapport truly is, let me just give you a general understanding for dummies. Rapport, in a nutshell, is where you're able to create a bridge between yourself and the other party. And via this bridge, there's information that is able to be relayed. That information can take up life in different forms. It could be via thoughts, data, feelings, whatever. For example, when you trust someone, you're much more likely to share personal information. In this case, the information are thoughts. Let's say you're trying to do a business deal with someone, and this is a person that you've known for a long period of time. In this case, the information is going to take up life via business transaction information, personalized data. Now, if you don't trust someone, that bridge is going to shrink, the wall is going to come up, and information is not going to be relayed, which is why rapport building is facilitating that bridge. You're turning the wall into a bridge. That's all rapport building comes down to. No need to make it more complicated than that. Now, with that being said, without further ado, let's get started off with these 5 tips. But before we do, be sure to drop that like so the other good apples can see this video as well. Hack number 1. Hack number 1 is to contact the other individual first. So let's say you just got done with a networking event. You've exchanged a bunch of different information, and for most people, they get all this information and they're like, all right, cool. I got a bunch of business cards, which you're probably gonna throw away in the trash. I got a bunch of contact information, which I'm probably never gonna hit up again. And you just go about your day. Well, in this case, what you did is you blew into a balloon, but you never tied the knot. So what I'm telling you to do is be the first person to hit whoever you want to build rapport with up. Just hit them up and just say, yo, it was nice talking to you. Maybe we should meet up again in this particular date. When you hit someone up first, what this does is it creates a higher social value of yourself in their subconscious mind. Now they're going to be thinking, oh, whoa, I thought this person was just hitting up everyone in this event. but I noticed that they just contacted me. You subconsciously made them feel important. And as you made them feel important, the rapport is going to be facilitated. They're going to trust you more. Now, even if it's not offline communication, you could also do this online. If there's a person that you've consistently been following for a long period of time, then it doesn't hurt to hit them up first and just let them know, yo, I like your content, keep it up. As you're hitting them up first, what they're able to do is now they know that you exist. And simply by knowing that you exist, they place social importance into your world, assigning you more trust in the process. So that's number one. Number two is what I call multi-point connection, which is a fancy term for hit them up on multiple different platforms. Connect with them in multiple different platforms. So to use the example from the first stage, if say you have someone's phone number, you could take it a level further by sending them a friend request on Facebook and take some time and then eventually follow them on Instagram. What this does is now they're able to familiarize you on 3 different platforms versus the person who just got their number the first day and never hit them up again. When they see you on these 3 different platforms, whether they're consciously aware of it or not, subconsciously, they're trusting you more. They feel like they've known you for a longer period of time. In the context of this brand, some of you guys discovered me through Twitter, and via Twitter, you subscribed to my daily newsletter, and via my daily newsletter, you were able to find my YouTube. So there's 3 points of connection: Twitter, newsletter, YouTube. Now, other listeners, you've never known that I had a Twitter. You probably had no clue that I had a newsletter either. Instead, you discovered me via my podcast. And from my podcast, I've promoted my YouTube channel as well. And from there, you discovered my YouTube. And now, since you're still watching this, now you know that I have a Twitter, so you could also follow me there. So once again, podcast, YouTube, and potential Twitter. 2 to 3 points of connections. When you can do this in whatever field that you're in with whoever you're trying to connect with, rapport builds much, much faster. That's 2. The third one is what I call the inside joke. The inside joke is a powerful way to speed up a connection because it creates an us versus them mentality. So imagine that you meet this girl, Susie, and Susie, in her first ever interaction with you, spills coffee on her blouse. As she spills coffee on her blouse, she feels embarrassed, but you decide that you're gonna turn this into a funny situation. You're like, your new nickname is Mick Coffee. I don't know, something corny like that. Now, you made light of the situation, so you subconsciously won her trust over just by a little bit. Now, next week, you guys are all hanging out in a group. And this time, Susie orders coffee, but she doesn't spill it. But still, you're like, hey, Mick Coffee, I see you. Now, Susie starts laughing, and other people are like, well, why are you calling her Mick Coffee for? And that's where you're like, I can't tell you guys. It's just a thing between me and Susie. That right there created a subconscious bond. That inside joke sped up rapport. And now you two have a connection that the other people in the group don't have. Now, just a quick little disclaimer with this. You don't want to be that person that's spilling the inside jokes to multiple people without her permission, because that will hurt rapport. And another quick disclaimer, you don't want to call other people Mick Coffee as well, because now it takes away from that inside joke. So with an inside joke, treat it like a prized possession between you and the person that you're trying to build rapport with. That's number 3. 4 is when you're able to ask specific advice. People love hearing themselves talk, and when you ask someone for advice, you make them feel smart. And when you make someone feel smart, they feel valued. Now look, there's also certain nuances with this. You don't want to keep asking a person who's a consultant for a living for advice, free advice. They're gonna think, man, this dude is just trying to get free information out of me. So if someone's a public speaking consultant, you don't just want to keep on asking them, hey, what do you think of my speech? How should I change this? How should I change that? Because this person is going to get annoyed by you. They think you're trying to pick their brain, which is code for a free session. Instead, what would be smarter is if you build a relationship with this public speaking consultant, and eventually you're like, yo, I noticed that you're a funny guy. Do you have any tips on how to be funny like you? In a social level. Now you're no longer asking for advice on the public speaking level. You're asking for advice in a different context in regards to charisma. They may like that. Or another one of your friends, let's say he's a personal trainer, but you also notice that he's extremely good with the ladies. Well, in this case, rather than asking him for advice regarding personal training, you could ask him for tips on your dating life. That's another way. Personalized advice. That's number 4. And the 5th one is what I say, put your money or heart where your mouth is. Now, what does this exactly mean? What this means is that at times you need to pull out your wallet or you need to show someone that you truly care rather than just talking. Now, I'll give you an example. For me, in context to ArmaniTalks, people that buy my products, people that like my videos, comment, retweet my tweets, people that actually support me, I give them a way different treatment versus the people that I've never seen in my life that hops in my DMs, in my emails, asking me for something. I don't know you. Versus the people right here, they pulled out their wallet and bought one of my products. They pulled out their hearts and left a gentle comment on one of my content that I spent time working on. These people have won me over. I trust them more. Therefore, I give them special treatment. So for you, in context to your life, if you know that one of your friends has just launched a product, let's say a protein powder product, I don't know, you can maybe support them by spending $35 to $40 on that product. And let's say you don't even drink the protein shake. That doesn't matter. You still put your money where your mouth is. This was also a brilliant example where one time there was this public speaking coach, one of the best people in the Tampa Bay region. And before talking to him, I ended up buying his book. And I bought the book with me in my backpack into the networking event that he was in. And when I told him that I bought his book, he just viewed me in a completely different lens. And he actually gave me a free consulting session. And from there, we actually went on to work with each other. And he's still a mentor to me to this day. And I ask him for advice. So if you want to build rapport faster, what you want to do is you want to be that person that's at least putting a little bit of your money down to show that you support someone, or be heartfelt, leave comments, give strategic compliments, stuff like that. Which leads me to my final bonus tip, which is remember the little details. The little details to another human means a lot more than the big details. If someone is talking in a certain way where they don't even think you're going to pick up the point, but you do pick up the point, and they bring it up next time, then that will be big. Just to extend past to that last example I gave you with that public speaking coach, he's from overseas. When he first came to this country, he couldn't speak English. And not only could he not speak English, he told me this specific story where he said that he used to get mocked by his coworkers a lot in his past job. But he just casually brought it up. He didn't put too much detail in it. But later on in our interactions, when I brought it up, I was like, didn't you get mocked by one of your coworkers before? He was like, you remember that? I thought you were just paying attention to me for the public speaking tips. I didn't know that you were listening for that small little detail. And neither did I. It just kind of stuck out to me. But what I learned from that moment was, it's good to look out for these little details. When you look out for these little details, you make a big impression. Small turns into gargantuan in their subjective reality. So that right there are a few of the ways that you could build rapport faster. And just understand this. In today's world, that's all a brand is. A brand is a rapport that's been built over time. Whether it's companies like Amazon, Apple, Coca-Cola, we buy their products, not simply for their products, it's because we trust them on a subconscious level. If you want to work on your social skills, if you want to work on your communication skills, then building rapport is a must. Use a lot of these tips that I gave you in today's video, see which ones apply to you, and start incorporating them into your life. If today's video helped you and you want more practical insights like this, be sure to sign up for my free daily newsletter where I drop practical stories like this on a consistent basis. Link will be in the description box right down below. Thank you for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.